Welcome to Klaus in Life, where we interview real estate professionals who have made or still making a big impact in our lives for the better. My name is Klaus Sin. I'm a certified real estate expert advisor and with eXp Realty. And today I have the pleasure to interview Tamra Simons. She is a real estate agent in Utah for more than 17 years now. And I'm really excited about her being here. So let's get right into it after this intro. So welcome, Tamra, to the show. I'm really glad you're here and took the time out of your busy day.
Well,
How's
thank
the
you
weather
so
in
much
Utah?
for having me.
Absolutely.
I
How's,
love your intro.
oh, cool. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So how's the weather in Utah? It's
You know,
hot in Florida.
it's hot and humid in Utah, which is unusual because we're usually a dry state.
Man, that weather is playing something on us this year. Well, tell us a little bit about Tamra. I think tell me about your history. How did you get in real estate and what happened?
Well, my real estate career, I started clear back in '02, and I first began as a real estate appraiser.
Oh wow.
And I did that for a couple of years until I realized that I didn't want to be behind the scenes. I wanted to kind of be more upfront. It just kind of didn't really fit with my personality. So I jumped back into schooling and got my real estate license. And I was fortunate enough, I passed my test the first time. I still remember it to this day. I went in to take my exam. I could not tell you a question one that was on that test. I was so nervous. And when she told me I passed, I was like, yay. So, yeah, I got that. And I immediately just kind of hit the ground running. I was wanting to get out there and make a name for myself. And so I did fairly decent for my first year. Um, Learning all of the scripting, and it was completely different from behind the scenes as an appraiser, but my appraisal experience has absolutely came in as one of the number one handy things to have in my tool belt.
Sure. That makes sense. Have you been always at the same brokerage for the 17 years, or did you
No,
jump
I,
around?
I've worked at the big box companies such as, Coldwell Banker and Century 21. And um, just not even quite a year ago, I was at 100% brokerage. Absolutely loved them. I loved everyone that I worked with there. My broker was amazing. Um, but I really wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't fulfilling something else that I needed. And a good friend of mine introduced me to EXP. And it wasn't the first time I had seen it. I had seen it numerous times because someone, has always been trying to show it to me. And I just wasn't open minded enough to take a look. And she was someone that I trusted completely, and I didn't think she would ever leave the brokerage that she was at because we'd kind of been in careers together. Most of our careers we've just kind of followed one another. And so she says, take a look. She's like, I just want to know what your opinion is. She's like, I'm not asking you to do anything, but just take a look.
Right.
And, I'm really fortunate that I did because it must have been that point in time for me because everything made sense.
It feels like it feels like everybody we talk to has sort of the same story, and I did too. I was approached with it. I didn't want to look at it. I think it took me 3 years to say, okay, now let's see what's going on with that thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of everybody feels like, oh, it's just another brokerage. They have some other tool, which I don't want to get into because it's not. But at the end of the day, it's amazing that we also hesitate to look at an opportunity uh, where you still make your decision if you want to move over or not, but at least look at it, right? Uh, are you a solo agent? Are you a team?
I'm a solo agent.
Okay,
The interesting thing with that is I always elaborate when I'm talking with people that I have a team. And even though I'm a solo agent, I have a team behind me. So, such as escrow and title and, my preferred lenders and, my home warranty professionals. So I always use them and bring them into my circle as my team, because without them, sometimes my deals would have never gone through had I not had them in my tool belt and part of my team.
yeah, and that's pretty interesting because I think a lot of agents bump around with different title companies and different lenders, and uh, really, I think a lot of agents actually look where they can. I want to say milk, right? Get
Yeah.
the most out of instead of building that relationship that really supports you more and is worth a lot more than some advertising money. If you could go back today and just put your mind back in time and tell yourself one thing as a new agent, what would it be?
Oh, as a new agent, I would tell myself to stay learning and don't give up.
Right. And that's pretty interesting because a lot of people, I think they just stop. They think they know it all and they just stop. And I think that it's not only about learning, it's collaboration is really important. And I agree. That's a really good
Oh yeah.
statement.
Yeah, collaboration is truly a gifting to people if they grab onto it and understand the full concept of what that collaboration means. And honestly, that's one of the things that keeps me here is this collaboration with people that are so willing to reach their hand down a ladder and help someone else up, because this is such a competitive career. People in this industry are extremely competitive
Yep.
and are not, they always hold their secrets close because they don't want to share anything, you know, because my listing presentation is better than your listing presentation. And, you know, these rebuttals are better than yours. And I have never been that kind of an agent. So the collaboration for me just fit completely. I mean, it was like all of the puzzle pieces just kind of fit into place because I've always been one to share it, and everybody always told me, "Well, why do you give away your secrets?" And I'm like, I live in Utah. I am one agent. I cannot buy and sell every person in this state. Not only that, our personalities aren't going to click for some of them, and there's enough business for every agent that's in business if they just put their first foot forward. So, the collaboration for me is I love to share anything that's working for me.
Cool. Now, obviously, you didn't know how big that collaboration was at EXP before you joined. Uh,
No,
but what
no.
before you made that decision, I think what would you say was the most difficult part of you being a solo agent, and how did making that move to EXP change that?
I always struggled in my career with learning ways to connect, that next step that to connect. So yeah, I always had consistency. And it's something I struggled with through my entire career. And being with EXP, I just only have to reach out, ask the question that I might be struggling with, and there is someone there that's always willing to help me. And if they don't have the answer, they're like, but I know someone who will.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what it is, they're there to help me answer whatever it is I'm struggling with. And that to me just give me comfort because I've always struggled in certain areas to keep that consistency. And now I don't necessarily have to worry about it, because if I have a problem, I have a great line above me, and I have everyone around me. It's a huge, great big family, and they're just called EXP Realty.
And it's interesting that you say that, because what I hear once in a while from agents is there's you're on your own. You it's a cloud-based business. You have no communication with nobody. I think um, that is hard to defend
Hmm.
to somebody who hasn't had the experience like you had now, right?
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
so what kind of coaching and training is there? Coaching and training you're receiving, you're utilizing? I know there's a lot, but are you utilizing any of it?
I make an effort to go into EXP World anytime my state brokers are doing any type of training, or if we've got icons and now they're training in there as well. And uh you know if I'm going to learn from the best, might as well get in with those that have done it, and where and what they've done, so that I can duplicate. And
Right.
so I plug in, because there is so much here, there's so much available to us, that it would be foolish not to plug in and grab a hold of any of those trainings.
And
So,
do you feel a difference between the training and the coaching at EXP that's done by actual agents, people who are experts in the field, whatever they're training, versus where you were before, where most of the time you have somebody hired to do trainings and really doesn't. I mean, they do textbook training,
mhm.
uh, but it's not an experience. Do you feel that difference? Is it
I do,
really
because
there?
they can give me real life, they can give me real life trials, things that they've gone through, things that they've seen, which helps me, because they've been there, they've done certain things, or they've had something similar happen in their careers that I can relate with. And I think that's so much better than having a hired trainer that doesn't do this day in and day out. So they just know, what they learned from other agents that they're teaching. Whereas we get to learn right from those that are still, in the trudges down here with us. I mean, everyone's working together for the same goal. So that's one of the things that I've loved about being here.
Cool. I also know you're a certified mentor with EXP. Can you explain to the audience what that actually means?
Oh, this is one of my favorites. And I'm really glad you asked about this, because I met with a mentee that the program, the EXP Mentor Program, allows agents to go through and learn how to mentor brand new agents, and teaching them skills that you have had in your own business that have worked, or where they're struggling and they're not knowing what to do first. And EXP has been wonderful about putting together an entire curriculum for these agents, so that they can learn how to time manage, business plan, lead generation and scripting, and they've got this solid program that you as a mentor get to go through with each mentee that you work with. And I mean, today I got the biggest compliment from my mentee earlier today, because she's not quite been in business an entire year, and she was with another brokerage before and had worked with a mentor. And she told me today, she's like, I've learned more in the short time that you and I have been together than I did the entire time I worked with that mentor before. And I was like, that all attributes to, of course, my experience in this business, but it also says something about the curriculum that EXP offers.
So what it means really is that a new agent who has no experience can still choose to join EXP because they get pretty much a handheld through their first, second, third transaction, whatever is needed. They're not on their own like they are at many other brokerages
Oh,
actually,
yes.
because not every brokerage has mentors. And I think that for you and for me, I'm a certified mentor as well. I feel that every time I do have a mentee, that I learn myself. I learn myself because you practice scripts, you practice uh, best practices, and it helps you to figure out, oh, I could do that better myself, right? And I think it's a great way to continue your own education as well.
Oh,
Now,
definitely. I mean, because you get their perspective.
right,
I always learn something new in a different perspective every mentee that I work with, because each one has a different outlook on this business. Or they'll say, well, how does this, if I did this, how would that look? And I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So I'm learning right along the side of them. They just don't realize I'm learning just as much from them as they are from me. And so, where we get to work with them through their first 3 transactions, I think it's kind of an honor to be a certified EXP mentor.
glad you said that. Now, one last question, Tamra, which I, I always hit the agents with at last. Since you joined EXP, any regrets, anything you would have done differently if you could do it again?
I would have joined sooner.
I could write that answer down because
No, I think, and I know things happen for a reason, and each time is a season. And before it just wasn't in my cards. There was things I had to learn first, and my mind wasn't open enough to be open to everything that's offered here. And so it probably wouldn't have worked if I'd assigned sooner, but boy, I sure wish I would
yeah.
have.
Well, anything else you like to tell our audience before we wrap up?
I just have to say, yes, I absolutely love the brokerage that I work with, and the people that are in it, such as Klaus. I mean, I've enjoyed the mastermind that you and I are a part of, and I enjoy, learning. I'm a professional learner. I'm always diving in somewhere, just because I'm always trying to be that better version of myself. And so I just have to, be grateful that I get to hang around agents such as yourself.
I appreciate that, and I feel with you on that. I think I'm in this business since 26 years now. I was a broker for a long time, and I knew a lot of agents around me were in the local area, but I didn't know anybody anywhere else. And since we're with EXP, I think you and I we see each other every week pretty much
Yes.
on the mastermind, and so I know you in Utah, I know Nick in Orlando, I know Jeff, I know North Carolina, I know New York, I know pretty much everywhere somebody, not
Yes.
only from the name but a face, and we talk and you get different opinions, and I think it's just awesome. I can brag enough
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's just one of those things you could talk about all the time. And I have to remind myself, don't EXP over everyone,
yes, yes.
because I definitely could.
That's all right. Well, Tamra, I really appreciate you took the time today. It was awesome, and I'll see you on Monday for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Have a
Okay,
great weekend. Thank you.
thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye. I love